Good evening and welcome. Welcome to a meeting of Hunterdon Central Regional High School Board of Education. Please be advised that this and all meetings of the board are open to the public and media consistent with the Open Public Meetings Act, and that advance notice required therein has been provided. Meeting notice was also posted in the boardroom of the Upper School campus, sent to the Courier News, Star Ledger, Express Times, and the Hunterdon County Democrat, and sent to the clerks of Delaware Township, East Amwell Township, Flemington Borough, Raritan Township, and Reddington Township. The public will have an opportunity to be heard as shown on the agenda. Mrs. Spitzer, could I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Bloodfeld? Here. Mrs. Duggan?
Here.
Mr. Fowler?
Here.
Ms. Gong?
Here.
Mrs. Kellogg?
Here.
Mrs. O'Donnell? Mrs. Peterson?
Here.
Mr. Reimer?
Here.
And Mrs. Santangelo?
Here.
Thank you, Mrs. Spitzer. If we can all rise for the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Ms. Santangelo, would you mind to read our district mission statement, please?
Yes. Hunterdon Central is an innovative educational community dedicated to the intellectual, social, and emotional safety and growth of all students. While fostering curiosity and promoting wellness, we aspire to create powerful learning experiences, establish strong partnerships, and serve as contributing members of society.
Thank you very much. Next, we are going to approve minutes and amendments. There is an amendment in our agenda for February 26th, approved on March 18th. If I could have a motion to approve as amended.
So moved.
Thank you, second. Thank you. Any conversation on this? If not, Ms. Spitzer, could I have a roll call vote, please?
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Ms. Duggan?
Yes.
Mr. Fowler?
Yes.
Ms. Gong?
Yes.
Mrs. Kellogg?
Yes.
Oh, goodness. Sorry.
That's all right.
Mrs. Santangelo?
Yes.
Mr. Reimer? Yes. And Mrs. Bloodfield?
Yes.
All yes, motion carries.
Thank you so much. Next, we will have an approval of the April 29th minutes. Can I have it moved, please? Lori got it?
second.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry, it was Lori and...
Lori moved and Sue seconded?
Thank you.
Of course. Any conversations, questions, or changes? Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Duggan?
Yes.
Ms. Gong?
Yes.
Mrs. Kellogg?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloodfield?
Yes.
Mr. Reimer? Mrs. Santangelo?
Yes.
And Mr. Fowler?
Yes.
All yes, motion carries.
Thank you. And lastly, for approval of minutes, the May 6th special meeting regarding superintendent search. Could I have a motion to move this, please?
And I'll second again.
Thank you, thank you. Any questions, conversations, or changes? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Duggan?
Yes.
Ms. Gong?
Yes.
Mrs. Kellogg?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloodfield?
Yes.
Mr. Reimer? Mrs. Santangelo?
Yes.
And Mr. Fowler?
Yes,
All yes, motion carries.
thank you so much. Next correspondence received, we have one correspondence tract from last month on record. I'm sure it's not too exciting, but we'll get there. Don't worry, everybody. Next, we hand it over to Dr. Shadow for our superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Fowler. Congratulations to our many students tonight on their accomplishments, and a special thank you to you parents, guardians, and relatives for your support and love for your children. And we'd also like to thank our faculty and administrators for working so very well with our students. Enjoy the program, and Mr. Brandt, you are now on.
Thank you. Good evening, and welcome all the students. Welcome back from this morning, and also parents. Thank you very much for coming. This is one of our two semi-annual nights where we recognize students and staff for some of the great feats that are met in this, I would say, evidence of a comprehensive high school. We do recognize that it's still May, and there are definitely activities in athletics that are still underway and their season aren't complete. And there's going to be some victories, I'm sure, after this that we will want to recognize down the road as well. However, for tonight, we have 4 different presenters. We have Ms. Cangelosi Hayde, our Assistant Superintendent, who's going to recognize students and staff involved with curriculum and instruction. Dr. Zarawicki with counseling. Mr. Jesse Spencer for our athletic program, and Mr. Scott Cohen for our co-curricular activities. So I'm going to pass it on to them. What we're going to do is, especially for the teams, we're going to invite you, one at a time or in groups to come down in front to get your picture taken with the board, but also hear the recognition among your peers and parents here. So I'm going to pass it over now to Ms. Cangelosi Hayde. Thanks.
Good evening, thank you. And Dr. Zarawicki and I will be presenting together. Our honorees are now lining up, so we're going to ask everyone to hold their applause, and we'll go through each honoree. Those of you standing, congratulations, but also as we read about you, please take a step forward so people know who you are, okay? So I'll start off with our staff. First, we'd like to recognize Mr. Adam Leonard. Mr. Leonard was chosen as the New Jersey Speech and Debate League Coach of the Year. Mr. Leonard's a social studies teacher here at Hunterdon Central. In addition to speech and debate, Mr. Leonard is involved with Rho Kappa, our Social Studies Honor Society, Youth and Government, as well as our Archives program. Next, we have Mrs. Valerie Fernandez. Ms. Fernandez. We were just notified last week that Mrs. Fernandez has received the Outstanding Chemistry Teacher Award from the American Chemical Society, Trenton-Princeton chapter. Mrs. Fernandez teaches chemistry and forensics here at Hunterdon Central, and she was recognized by her peers as an outstanding educator based on criteria such as the quality of her teaching, her ability to challenge and inspire students, and her extracurricular work in the field and willingness to stay up to date in chemistry research. We'll clap for our staff. Okay. And next, we'll honor many students here. And this is just a few. As Mr. Brandt mentioned, some of our students couldn't be here. So we'll talk about the ones that are here. But also, when we clap at the end, we'll be clapping for those who couldn't make it as well. So first, we had multiple English students, but we do have Michael Murphy here, who won first place in short story in the 2024 Warren County Consortium for Student Enrichment Young Writers Competition. Congratulations, Michael. Next, we have Connor Stager. Connor was accepted to and will be attending the National Youth Science Camp this summer. Connor is one of just 2 delegates from New Jersey that were accepted to this camp. The program is designed to honor and challenge some of the nation's rising leaders and provide them with opportunities to engage with STEAM professionals and participate in exciting outdoor activities. Congratulations, Connor. We have 3 students, 2 of which are here tonight, that have been accepted to New Jersey's Governor's School this summer. Congratulations, Parth Jain, who will be attending the Governor's School of Technology and Engineering at Rutgers University, and Alex Zatuchny, who was accepted into the Governor's School in the Sciences at Drew University. Governor's School is a highly selective program and offers a tuition-free summer residential program for high-achieving high school juniors who have an interest in STEM. Students learn a sense of ethical, social, and civic responsibility. High school students are taught by college faculty who promote a sense of community among learners, bringing scholars, faculty, and staff together beyond the traditional boundaries of the classroom. And last but not least, we have students here to represent this year's Teen Arts participants and award winners. We had over 100 students participate in Teen Arts this year, which is amazing. And many of whom were selected to move on to the state-level Teen Arts in just a few weeks, I believe. So New Jersey State Teen Arts Festival is a statewide culminating celebration of arts dedicated to inspiring New Jersey teen artists, educators, professional artists, and arts advocates from across the state. It starts at the county level, and then again, it will culminate at the state level. So for short story, we have Michael Murphy. You may recognize him since I just mentioned him just before. And then representing music, and we could not, unfortunately, there is a music conflict this evening, but Mr. Kenny is here tonight, one of our amazing music directors, I guess is the right term, and he's here with 2 students to represent our musical groups that were recognized at Teen Arts. So Nina Jathe Gauker, did I say that right, Nina? I'm so sorry. And she's representing Jazz Lab, and then we have Max Kenny, who's here for Jazz Combo. Congratulations, Nina and Max and Mr. Kenny. And next, I'm going to kick it over to Dr. Zerwicki.
Okay, thank you. I also had a few students who couldn't attend, but I'm going to first start by recognizing Daira Camarillo. So, thank you. So, Daira won the Hunterdon County Chamber of Commerce's Amazing Kids in Business. This award is given to students who own a business. D Sweets specializes in making traditional tres leches cakes. They have made cakes for birthday parties and special events, as well as different items like chocolate-covered strawberries, flan, and tres leches cupcakes. Congratulations. Next up is Amelia Bronhard Yates. She is one of 3 students who won ROTC scholarships. And for those of you who don't know, those are incredibly competitive, and she won, was awarded, won isn't quite the right word, was awarded a full 4-year tuition scholarship to MIT for the next 4 years. So congratulations.
Okay, we're going to have Mr. Brandt get a picture. So if you could all maybe get a little closer together. We're not professional photographers, but we do have a good iPhone, if that counts for anything. Smile for Mr. Brandt and your families if they're trying to take a picture. I'm so sorry if Mr. Brandt is blocking you. Good? All right, congratulations again. And next up, we'll have Mr. Spencer for athletics. Congratulations, thank you. Good job.
Hello and good evening, and thank you once again for allowing us to take the opportunity to recognize some of our student athletes, our coaches, our staff, and all the time and dedication that it goes into working with your student athletes, and at the end of the day, being able to recognize them for all the wonderful things they're able to do, not only in the classroom, but as an extension of the classroom, on the athletic fields, on our courts, on our mats. It's just an outstanding time of the year that we get to do such a thing, and it's always an honor for me to be able to recognize our student athletes, because all the time and effort they put in, it's just outstanding to be able to stand up at the end of each year and just recognize all the things they're able to accomplish. Fortunately for us is that we still have a lot of our spring sports still going right now. So, the board meeting being in May, we still hopefully have a long way to go with the rest of our spring sports, and hopefully our outcomes are going to be fantastic. So, but we did accomplish a few things along the way, so I want to make sure we recognize those things as well. But I am going to start off with our winter sports first, and just some of the outstanding things we were able to accomplish during the winter. So with that said, I would first like to welcome and bring up our unified basketball team. Along with Mr. Rebholz, if he could join us. So just as a brief update, the unified basketball team, actually Mr. Rebholz and I started this when we both arrived here in 2018, and we jumped right on it together. It's been an outstanding thing that we've started here at Hunterdon Central, and it's just been a really good community thing for us. And this year, we had the privilege to watch our athletes compete at a high level week in and week out, and they did an outstanding job. and they took us all the way to the state championship, and I'm going to let Mr. Rebholz kind of recap that.
All right, perfect. So for anyone who doesn't know, Unified Sports basically takes neurotypical and neurodivergent students, throws them together in the heart of competition, and we roll with it. So this year we had an absolutely incredible season. This is just a small fraction of the program. We also have Unified Sparkle, which is our cheerleading program, as well as our Unified Jump Rope program. But these group of athletes here, we had one loss on the season, and throughout the state playoffs, we were on the road every single game, culminating in our final against Ewing at Rutgers, Jersey Mike's Arena. So we scaled away with a 1-point win with a bucket with 16 seconds to go and a solid defensive stand. So just a real testament to their hard work, their dedication, and more than anything, inclusion. So give our unified program here. Thank you.
And that will be Hunterdon Central's first NJSIAA Unified State Championship for Hunterdon Central. So that's good. Next, I would like to welcome our wrestling team. Is there anybody that was able to join us? I know Mr. Bernetti is in the house, so he's going to come up here and represent them. And their head coach, Mr. Cantagallo, is just getting off the bus from a tennis match, but he's going to roll in. And he is also one of our individual student athletes that we will also be recognizing. So awesome. So Mr. Cantagallo is our head coach, and our wrestling team this year had an outstanding year. We had we were a heavy senior class, but we were able to accomplish a lot this year. They were, first off, they were the Hunterdon Warren Sussex champions. And if you don't know what that means in the life of a wrestler, that means that at the year in and year out, it always comes down between Hunterdon Central and Phillipsburg. And this year, we were able to knock them off to bring home the Hunterdon Warren Sussex championship. And that is and sometimes in our world, it's harder to win the Hunterdon Warren Sussex than it is the state championship or a sectional title. And in our fortunes, we were able to bring home the Hunterdon Warren Sussex champions. They were also the Group 5 sectional champions, so they're the New Jersey State sectional champions as well. They are also the district champions, and that goes as the wrestling goes, it goes all the way down, districts, regions, and then we go to the states. But they had an outstanding season. On top of that, we had 2 individual accolades this year that were just incredible. And incredible in getting them 1, but having 2 in the same season. And one of the best things that I think came out of that was Mr. Bernetti and our other wrestler, Anthony Rossi, wasn't able to be here. But they both reached 100 wins this year, and they also tied the school record for most wins in a season at 43, which was outstanding. Bernetti. Tommy Bernetti went all the way to the state championship in Atlantic City. He placed 4th in the state at his weight class. 175, that's an outstanding feat. And Anthony Rossi placed 3rd in his weight class. And 2 outstanding young men, 2 outstanding wrestlers, had 2 outstanding careers here at Hunterdon Central. And I congratulate our boys wrestling team, 2024, and all you were able to accomplish. Thank you. All right, next I'm going to start with a couple of our spring sports. Also had some good accolades along the way so far. First, I'll recognize our softball team who can't be with us tonight. They're on their way back from Westfield from a game. And just the other day, on Friday afternoon, due to a rainout last Wednesday, they also captured the Hunterdon Warren Sussex Championship over at Phillipsburg and defeating High Point, which was awesome. Just today, our seedings came out. They are the 4th seed in their sectional tournament, which will start on Wednesday, and we will be going against Edison in the state tournament. So I just want to congratulate them. Unfortunately, they're on their way back. Next, I'd like to bring up our girls golf team. And these are our girls golf team. They're some outstanding young women. They really do everything the right way all the time, and it's such a pleasure to watch them compete. And their head coach, Miss Gackos, is an outstanding coach for us. She really mentors these young ladies, and she really does a great job bringing so much recognition to the state of girls golf. She does outstanding things with events and tournaments that she runs at our local golf courses, and brings in hundreds and hundreds of golfers around the state. And she just does an outstanding job. And at the end of the day, this year they were able to also capture the Hunterdon Warren Sussex Championship for our girls golf team. Congrats. Awesome. Congratulations. And now we'll bring up our boys golf team. And once again, our boys golf team also outstanding young men. They are outstanding competitors. Are also our head coach, Chris Gackos, does an outstanding job mentoring these young men, and really gives them wonderful opportunities to compete in the sport of golf. We have been extremely successful over the last 3 years. And topping that off, this year's golf team, they were also the Hunterdon Warren Sussex champions. They were also the Delaware Division champions. They were the Skyland Conference champions. And they were the Hunterdon County Tournament champions. So this is, again, another outstanding feat. They also had a great run in their team tournament at the States. And congratulations to you guys and all that you've able to accomplish over your careers here. And you guys, again, outstanding young men, and I wish you nothing but the best. So, congrats. All right, I will now bring up our girls lacrosse team. So listen, I'm going to do your team and individual stuff at the same time. No doubt. All right, so this is our 2024 girls lacrosse team. And I don't want to say too much about them because they are on an outstanding run. But we have a couple team accolades, and we also have several individual accolades. So when I do the team stuff, and then if I do an individual, please just step forward as I call your name so we can recognize you. So our 2024 girls lacrosse team, a couple weeks ago, they were also the Hunterdon Warren Sussex champions, defeating North Hunterdon High School to capture that crown, which is always a great thing for us at Hunterdon Central, sometimes. And they are currently 17-2, and they are, seedings just came out today. They are the number 2 seed in the state tournament, and they will be opening their state tournament on Friday against East Brunswick, and we hope that we will continue to see them over the next couple weeks and all the great things that they're going to accomplish along the way. But again, they've had an outstanding year, and I'm proud of the way that they've handled themselves and the way that they're going after it. It's been awesome. So unfortunately for us in this group, we've had several individual accolades along the way. And like I said with wrestling, doing this with one individual, but doing this with several at the same year at the same time, they're just outstanding athletes and players, and they're doing wonderful things for our program. So I will first start off with Miss Jelly Schnell, who reached her 100 career assists today. We have Kylie Hamer. She has reached her 100th career goal. Maggie Scally has also reached her 100th career goal. Kaden Brandt, she has received her 300 draw controls. If you don't know what a draw control is, that is layman's terms, it's during the face-off. In order to come up with the ball and get your team possession, that's the draw. She has been able to accomplish 300 draws for us, and which gives us the ball, which gives us wonderful opportunities to put the ball in the net. So, great job. So, this is our 2024 Girls Lacrosse team. Tighten up so you can get a picture. Good. Nice job. All right, I have two left, individual awards. Did Mike Cantiliano, did you make it? Okay, he is one of our baseball players. He is also, there he is. Let's go. So he is literally just coming off the ball field from a game. And he is one of our Central student athletes, baseball players. Come on over here. That's it. And Mike has had an outstanding career with us. He's a multiple conference team selection. He is an outstanding baseball player. He's an outstanding young man. And this year he has reached his 100th career hit. And that has only been done by 5 other people at Hunterdon Central High School. So that is an outstanding feat for Mike. So congratulations, Mike. And again, our boys baseball team, they are 7th seeded in the state tournament, and they will be kicking off their state tournament come Thursday. So let's wish them luck. Katarina Hoffman, did she make it? Okay, Katarina Hoffman, she is a awesome individual, and she is somebody that we support her as an individual diver. So we don't have an actual quote-unquote diving team, but the state does recognize individual divers. And she is a three-time state champion for Hunterdon Central in girls diving, and she is a 3-time All-American this year. So I just wanted to recognize her. And our final individual accolade, Mr. Matthew Schwartz. Come on up. Also, his head coach, Mr. DeFazio. Go ahead, you can stand over there. Mr. Schwartz is one of our basketball players. He also runs track for us. Maybe you have to lay off the track with the boot, but he is one of our multiple sport athletes, an outstanding, outstanding young man. And he has done so much for our basketball program. He is a multiple varsity year athlete. He's a multiple conference team winner selection. He's an MVP in every sense of the term. He's a scholar athlete. And on top of that, this year, Matt, at the buzzer, did some great things for us. And he was also a 1,000-point scorer for Hunterdon Central High School. And that in both genders, both boys and girls. In the history of Hunterdon Central, he is our 15th athlete to reach that feat, both boys and girls athletes. So congratulations to you, Matt. Congratulations on your career here, and I wish you well. Thank you very much for your time, and congratulations to everybody, and thank you very much for all your help.
Last but certainly not least, Mr. Scott Cohen's here for some of our co-curricular and activity awards as well.
Good evening, and thank you for being here this evening. Again, I'm Scott Cohen, Dean of Students, and part of my role is to oversee the over 110 clubs and activities at Hunterdon Central. So tonight, you're just going to get a sampling and a smattering of the amazing things that our students do here at Hunterdon Central, although all of our club advisors are truly appreciated for all that they do each and every day with our students. So tonight, I'd like to start by recognizing our Chemistry Olympics team. If they can come down to the front. Mr. Brandt indicated that we still have a couple months left, well, not a couple months, about 4 weeks to go. And this is a prime example. We just heard within the past week that the Chemistry Olympics team, led by Dr. Leon Copeland, won 2 gold, 2 silver, and 1 bronze medal in state championships. So congratulations to our Chem Olympics team. Next, I'd like to call down our dance team. Our dance team, led by Miss Carly Toth, had an incredible year this year. In regards to the Universal Dance Association, the UDA, Battle of the Northwest in Philly, our team took first place, medium varsity jazz and best costume. Second place for medium varsity hip hop. Second place for junior varsity jazz. Third place for junior varsity hip hop. And our JV team placed 7th in the nation for their hip hop routine at the Universal Dance Association's event at the Wide World of Sports and All-Stars. Congratulations, HC Dance Team. Next, I'd like to bring up our indoor color guard. Indoor color guard. Mr. Magalio? They're rehearsing. Okay, excellent. So Mr. Magalio in the back and DJ Deans, who lead the indoor color guard, again, they had a fabulous season this year, ranking first place. And the Tournament of Bands hosts outdoor competitions in the fall. It's an all-year season, and indoor competitions in the off-season. The MRD Indoor Color Guard won the Indoor Association Region 710 Championships. These kids are putting in tremendous amounts of work. I had the pleasure of seeing them off to Wildwood in early May, and these kids really are committed and super dynamic students. So we applaud them in their rehearsals and practices right now. Next up, I'd like to bring up the Investing Club members. Investing Club, led by Ms. Karen Rossi. This year, we had an incredible accomplishments when it came to our students' ranking in the national investment club competitions. 4 of our students placed extraordinarily high for the state of New Jersey. So we had Dylan Horn placed 4th, James Hollett placed 24th, Matt Davis placed 31st, Drew Sella 37th, Michael Sauce 42nd, and Shreya Verma placed 48th out of 2,500 students that participated nationally. Congratulations. Get that picture, Mr. Brandt? Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Next, I'd like to call up Max Kenny and also the students from the Madrigal Club. If you could come forward. All right. Max Kenny, who stands before you, received and became part of the New Jersey Educators All-State Band. This required a tremendous amount of effort, practice, recitals, and performances. So congratulations to Max. And under the leadership of Miss Megan Petrushin, many of our magical students, 4 of them, were selected for the 2024 All-State Choir. Madeline Carvalho, Annalise Geraro, Carly Perrine, and Adrian Lopiccolo. So thank you very much, and congratulations. Next up is our mock trial team. Mock trial, not present, but okay. That's led by Miss Samira Marcos. Not only did the team make another leap in their performance this year beyond last year, making it to the State Central Regional Mock Trial in New Brunswick, but 2 of our students were recognized at the Hunterdon County 2024 Bar Association Law Day right here in Hunterdon County. Colin Howell received a scholarship, and Emma Howell received Best Overall Attorney Award, while all members were recognized for their tremendous contributions in mock trial throughout the state of New Jersey. So congratulations to our mock trial team. Model UN. Are Model UN members here? No? Okay. So our Model UN team, led by Miss Anacel Rachel, they had also another very impressive year, with many students receiving extraordinary accolades for their participation in the Hershey Model UN YMCA Conference, as well as New York City Model UN Conference in New York City that happened in April. So congratulations to our Model UN team. Next, our National English Honor Society. We have students here from there. Please come forward. This is led by Jennifer Myers, and 3 students received scholarships this year for their submissions as National English Honor Society students. 2 of them are before you, Elena Liu and McKinley Pistano-Young, and Kiara Spring also won the award. So congratulations to all 3 of you. Next, I'd like to bring up our robotics team. Our robotics team, led by Bill Brokaw and Mr. Ed Jacobs, had, as you know, a phenomenal season this year. I'm just going to read a few of the accomplishments, but they were many. In the Montgomery competition, the team won the event with alliance partners Montgomery and Somerville and ranked #1 out of 36 teams from across the state and Pennsylvania. In addition, they won the Impact Award, the highest honor in the competition. At Lehigh Valley competition over spring break, the team ranked 14th out of 127 teams in the Mid-Atlantic District, qualifying for World Championships, which they participated in April. There, they ended up ranking 27th in their division in the World Robotics Competition in Houston, Texas, which included teams from Australia, Canada, Ghana, Israel, Mexico, Netherlands, Turkey, India, and more. Hunterdon County recently recognized them. There was a great article in Tap Into, and provided a resolution for all of their accomplishments. So congratulations, robotics team, outstanding year. In addition, Parth Jain, who's part of the robotics team, was nominated for the Dean's List. So congratulations, an incredible accomplishment. That's it, thank you. That's all until this year, Mr. Brokaw. Next up, I'd like to call our speech and debate team up, led by, as you heard earlier, our New Jersey Coach of the Year, Mr. Adam Leonard. This year, there was a tremendous amount of accomplishments, including a significant accomplishment of hosting the annual tournament at Central on January 6th, where over 450 teams came to compete. and that was organized by Amvi Tripathi, Amelia Bronhard Yates, Reagan McGee, Claudia Benke, Yasmin Gokman, Fionn Kelsley, Hira Mustafa, Zara Malik, McKinley Pastano Young, Andy Liu, Naili Mehta, all helped in coordinating that effort. And at that same competition, we placed in different categories. Alex Suchani placed second in original oratory, and Sheree Badanaki placed second in varsity Lincoln Douglas debate. The National Speech and Debate Association recognized a number of our students this year, including Claudia Benke, Tanisha Desai, Jack Foreman, all with an NSDA Honors Award, Sheree Badanki, Olivia Davis, Fionn Kelsey, and the NSDA Merit Award, Arnav Gupta, Colin Howell, Brooke Hutchinson with the NSDA Excellence Award. So congratulations, speech and debate. We look forward to all that you do next year. Next up, I'd invite our thespians, led by Ms. Gail Enterline. Thespian Troupe 3035 had a very impressive showing this year at the Bucks County Playhouse Theater Festival in New Hope. Josh Fisher, Piper Berkowitz, Samantha Whitman, Anastasia Feldman, Talia Gentles for Best Ensemble Scene. And Josh Fisher also won Best Actor Award. Quinn Mazzeo won Best Comedic Actor Award for The Odd Couple, and Annie Feldman, Monologue finalist. So congratulations to our thespian group. Anastasia Feldman was also a finalist in the NJ Governor's Award for Dramatic. She got 7th place out of 60 entries that were submitted. So congratulations. I'd like to call up if Elizabeth Kronanowski is here. Is Elizabeth here? No? And also Miss Catherine McQueen, if you could come up to the front, please. Okay, you can come up. Yeah. So first, I'd like to recognize for Women in STEM, which was led by Miss Jess Doyle. Elizabeth Kronanowski was one of 4 students selected as a winner at the Princeton Plasma Physics Lab for the Women in Engineering, Math, and Science Award, where she won 1 year of mentorship and a laptop computer. She's not here tonight, but it was an incredible accomplishment. Recognition was at Princeton University during their plasma physics program. Ms. Catherine McQueen was recently inducted into the Society for Key Women Educators. Ms. McQueen is an English teacher at Hunterdon Central, and she is sponsored by one of our colleagues, Dr. Zimmerbaum, for this honor. Ms. McQueen now joins an organization of women educators that promotes professional and personal growth of its members and excellence in education. Membership benefits include leadership, scholarship, and grant opportunities. Congratulations, Ms. McQueen. Thank you very much.
Thank you all again. That wraps up that I think a wonderful night of accomplishments being recognized there. And again, that's just part of what we get to experience here at Hunterdon Central, just part. So I appreciate your support. A lot of that goes under a lot of the support from you throughout the year, and we couldn't do it without you as well. So thank you very much. We're going to turn it over now. I think Dr. Twizzler is going to present.
As we are prepping, would the board mind sitting in the first row so you don't have to turn your head to see the presentation? And then we're going to kind of shift the podium just to make sure it's properly situated. Mr. Brand has to assist me. And with my, you can't really, okay, there we go. Tim knows I think this is good. Where do we normally put it for public comment? Right here? Then let's just, ooh, don't want to get hit. All right.
You shouldn't need to duck. I'll just adjust the level for you.
All right. Hello, I'm Dr. Twizzler. I'm here to represent art, business, health and PE, and music. And as you've seen already from this evening's presentation, we've got a lot of great things going on here at Central. Some of them are happening in the classroom too, not just the clubs and the sports. I want to begin by starting with the district goals. You all know those, but for the general public, just so you're aware, I feel like these 4 departments do an excellent job at addressing these, by and large. I know that tomorrow we're doing our NJSLA testing, and there's a lot of focus on the core academics and test scores, but I think a lot of what happens in these 4 departments help build those soft skills that lead students to success in those areas. And so I wanted to go through a little bit about what our department does in these areas. For powerful learning, all 4 departments do it, but I thought I'd draw attention to business and art. Business has created 3 new classes in the last 3 years. Our stock market investing, you just heard a little bit earlier, has been doing very well. Next year, we're planning on opening up our sports and entertainment marketing. Those courses are both a byproduct of the desires of the district and the students in areas that we found that they were going to have a lot of success in. We'll be talking about another new course in a little bit. We also have some new classrooms for the business department, along with new software that helps us stay current as to the current trends in business. The art department also has addressed powerful learning through personalization, particularly through student choice. We offer student choice through the projects that they work on, and in some cases, the medium. I'm not sure if you're aware, but our AP Art Studio class offers 3 different AP programs, all within 1 course. So students get personalization as to what they might be interested in within that area. The new NJSLS in 2020 addressed changes to the art curriculum where it's not so much about creating projects anymore, it's more the overall entire arc of the journey. So it's the design up front as well as the reflection in the back end, which allows students to tell their own story through art. We've also been getting out of our classrooms a bit, quite a lot in the IMC. All 4 departments have leveraged the IMC to be able to make a meaningful impact on the school. Whether or not it's the music department taking advantage of our wonderful stage in the IMC to be able to present to the school at large and anybody who might want to come see a concert, or whether or not it's our 3rd new class, Entrepreneurship 2, using the makerspace to be able to make prototypes, to be able to actually get the students hands-on on the products they're trying to deliver. Or whether or not it's the art class taking advantage of the makerspace to be able to make brand new projects using the Glowforge, where students are actually 3D printing and working with tangible 3D objects to be able to make their art, some of which was exhibited in the Teen Art Showcase at the county. We've also been celebrating equity and inclusion in all 4 departments, particularly in music. You've heard tonight about a lot of the different club offerings that we offer for our music program, and that's the way that we are able to diversely address the needs of the community. If students can't fit it into their schedule, we offer a lot of different clubs for them to either be able to increase their participation in music and or get into the music program at all. We've also been working very heavily with the sending districts through programs like Day of Music and inviting them to our jazz concert and our choir concert to be able to have the middle school students participate with the high school students, as well as sending our band students and our choir students down to the middle school to be able to excite them about the arts. We've also been using inclusion through our team music class, where Megan Petruccian has been doing a fantastic job of being able to work with students that might not be able to perform in an ensemble, but we still feel like they should benefit from the arts. Our health and PE program have also been addressing these, whether or not it's through our independent health and PE program or our option 2 pathway, which is separate from independent health and PE, where we have multiple students that are doing a true option 2 in PE this year through an application process. We've also expanded our PE program to get away from just teaching students about particular sports, and instead we're trying to teach them about the skills that come along with it, such as collaboration and teamwork and mental wellness as they embark in those areas. Personally, I've been working in 2 different applications this year, my goals. One of them was to increase applications into the G&T program. We had a 30% increase in students applying to our G&T art program this year. In part, it's because we were addressing high school students as well as the middle school students to be able to get entry into the program, and we refined our whole intake process. I've also been working with the PE teachers for independent health and PE, and we've broadened the scope of students being able to apply for that. I invited a few teachers and a few students to come tonight and talk a little bit about what's going on in their classrooms. Ms. Rossi, would you like to come up? Get you in there.
Okay. Hi, I'm Karen Rossi. I'm a business teacher here at Hunterdon Central, and I teach stock market investing. So it's a course that we just started 2 years ago, and I'm also the advisor for the investing club, which we also started 2 years ago. This is a look at our business department staff. So we have 7 staff in our department, and of course our supervisor, and we all come from many diverse backgrounds. Some of the teachers have their MBAs in business, so we have a very esteemed staff. We offer 17 courses in the business department, so that's 17 courses amongst 7 teachers. So we all teach multiple preps. We're super passionate about business, so this is just a look at some of the courses that we offer. All right, so I give you a look at some of the things that we're doing in our classroom. So in our courses, we often call in people that are in the, so I brought in a personal advisor to my stock market class, and the students love when we have speakers that are talking about what they actually do. We always have advisors to the different courses depending on what it is. My investing club went to Wall Street last year. That was very, we did a tour in New York City. It was an amazing experience. In my investing class, we talk about the history of the stock market. So it really brings into focus what our landscape looks like for the last 100 years. And then at the end of the semester, we do a portfolio. The students do a portfolio of what stocks, bonds, cryptocurrency they would buy for a specific investor. So the example at the bottom is someone who is a medium risk investor. So they really enjoy it. They've emailed me later on and asked if they could have it, like 2 years later. So really interesting. One of the things that I do is I got involved in the stock market game. So it's a game that is nationwide, and we're in the New Jersey division. And what it does is it's a real world. So the students trade stocks, and they buy and sell, and they try to compete against each other. And I always say, like the second bullet, even if you lose, you win. Sometimes it's better for the students to lose, right? So it gives them like, maybe I shouldn't invest in all technology stocks, right? So sometimes it's a good lesson for them to actually lose. But it's an amazing experience for them. They participate the whole semester. And then in the end, I actually have them do another game just to see, what they learned. And they really enjoy it, and it mirrors the market, so they see how they're doing every single day. And they, play it on the weekends, so it's really an interesting, fun game for them. So I want to introduce 2 of my students. And the first student is Dylan. He actually was the highest finisher in the stock market game last year, and he'll talk to you about his experiences.
Hi, my name is Dylan Horn. I don't know if you guys remember when they were doing the little presentations, they mentioned placing 4th. Last year, I placed 4th in the state. During COVID, I found myself with minimal knowledge about the stock market. So when I took stock market investing, within the class, I was taught how to research and invest in stocks and then practice with my own portfolio through the use of the stock market game. This includes shorting stocks, buying long-term, borrowing, and more. I was also able to take what I learned from the class and research stocks to make my own wise decisions for my trades. And after I placed fourth in the game in state, I decided to take what I knew and apply it in real life. As I mentioned, I was already using these, as I mentioned, I was already interested in buying stocks, but with the knowledge, I decided to take the money that I earned from my summer job over the sophomore year and to buy more stocks in the fall because I wanted to diversify my portfolio a little bit more. And because of my newly gained knowledge, I was able to grow. I was able to invest in the stocks expected to grow, and they did. In total, this year alone, I've been able to grow my portfolio by 42%.
Hello, everyone. I'm James Hollett. I'm a senior here at Hunterdon Central, and I've been a part of the business program ever since freshman year. I've taken classes such as entrepreneurship, accounting, and now stock market investing. And in stock market investing this year, I participated in the stock market game like Dylan, and I was able to learn a lot from it. And specifically, I learned two main things. One is you can learn a lot through trading simulations such as the stock market game, so the experience helps you understand how to manage a portfolio, especially with the amount of money that the game provides. In this case, $100,000 was the initial starting. And it also teaches you perseverance. Now, it is very easy to lose money on the stock market through lots of volatility. And in this case, I did, at the beginning, use a extremely risky strategy in shorting stocks, and I actually ended up losing $10,000 within the first couple of days. However, the perseverance that I gained through this, I was able to work hard and get this money back and make wiser investments and ended up with an $18,000 net gain. And fortunately, I placed second place in the northern New Jersey region. So I was very grateful to have the opportunity to participate in the game, and I'm fortunate to have this outcome. Thank you.
Next up, I'd like to invite Mr. Dinson.
Hi, everybody. I'm Donovan Dinson, freshman health and PE teacher. I finished my dissertation just recently. I defended a few weeks ago. That went well. And the focus of my dissertation was on student voice and social and emotional learning. And so this all started a few years ago when I was thinking about ways to make myself a better teacher and create a better PE program. And so what we started doing was offering students choices in PE. It's kind of the crux of what we do now. It started as a binary choice of A or B, but as I started to learn more about student voice and as I started to read the research, I started learning more about that the binary choices was really just the foundation of providing authentic autonomy to students, and that student voice is more of a collaborative process. And so, to that end, as I learned more about student voice, it increases student engagement and increases student autonomy. And so, I found that physical activity is such a personal thing. A lot of students, once they leave high school, they might join the gym. They might buy a Peloton and work out. They might join the YMCA basketball team. Physical activity is so personal, and so we want to try to personalize instruction the best that we can. And so how do we do that? We do that with shared decision making, from classroom rules and routines to voting systems for activities. We're still expanding and broadening what activities we can offer to students, but empowering them to make choices made it more personally meaningful for them. And so flexibility is really key, and it's just really listening to students, listening to their perspectives. Part of that study was just conducting interviews and just learning about their experiences of PE from kindergarten until now, and how that shaped their perceptions of physical activity and PE in general. And so one of the great activities we did, was a project where the students had to achieve learning standards of fitness but they can disseminate in any way that they want to. And so one group to cover the components of fitness of speed and agility might play basketball. It's definitely applicable. And another group might play dodgeball or capture the flag. And so students were able to kind of find their vice and find personal enjoyment in PE in the way that they wanted to. And so for that project, they ran class and they did the warm-ups and they taught the activities and then played the activities. And then they were still learning along the way, but there's also a great increase in autonomy, which is the purpose of student voice. And so social emotional learning is part of that process. And so I find that beyond some of the physical skills of learning how to dribble a basketball or catching and throwing, those skills you can learn as you grow and develop and take interest into sports, but the soft skills of collaboration and empathy, communication, those are the skills that we in the freshman department and the department as a whole really want to instill in students. And so some of the important benefits of social emotional learning is just that development of self-awareness and fostering a growth mindset, which we're trying to kind of expand throughout the entire health and PE department. I have Mira and Hannah here today to just speak on their experiences in PE and with student voice.
Hello, I'm Mira McPherson, and I'm a freshman here.
And I'm Hannah, and I'm in a freshman year.
One of the things that we did, as he said, was we created activities. We got to pick a partner, and some of us were in groups of 3, and we created different activities like basketball, or I did something where like there was balls in the middle, and you had to like go collect them with scooters, and we had to relate them to components of fitness, and we had to like write out a doc about it, and it really helped us think about why we were doing it, so not so much as like just doing it. And we got to like work together and use more of like leadership skills to explain it and like teach our other classmates how to do it.
During our time in Mr. Denson's class, we would try to build a relationship through our class by doing a lot of partner and group projects. Also, we would fill out these Google forms with more than one activities, and we would go and with like 3 classes, and we do that activity based on like the most populated results. That's it.
Thank you. All right, in the interest of time, we're going to cheat a little bit, and I'm going to ask Mr. Kenny to come up and talk about teen art, so that way we cover music and art.
Good evening. I'm Bob Kenny, and I've had the pleasure of being the concert band and jazz band director here at Central for the past 31 years. And I'm just very happy to, first of all, start out and talk about teen arts and how thrilled the teachers are that this came back this year. For about 20 years or so, we had it regularly, and if you're not aware, it features musicians, artists, the theater, groups from all over the county at the high school and middle school level. And the kids go in and perform. It's a great opportunity to showcase their talents. They have experts in the area giving them feedback. In addition to that, the students are, after they perform, they can go explore arts, theater, and it's just a great experience for them. And so I am just absolutely thrilled that it return this year, and I appreciate your support, and hopefully we'll continue on. I do have one student, Max Kenny, here to talk about it as well, give his feedback. Max Kenny is my son. He was honored for making the All-State Band earlier, and I want to talk a little bit about more of that, because making the All-State Band is an incredible task. New Jersey is divided into 3 regions for music, and the students have to prepare a really rigorous, intense audition. They have to prepare a professional college-level audition, the Haydn trumpet concerto, the Mozart horn concerto. I mean, it's the top concertos, and it's something they do really on their own with private teachers, and you have to be totally dedicated to it. It's a blind audition. They walk into the classroom with 3 music teachers, their backs to them. They're given sections, excerpts to play, not knowing what to play, what they're going to choose from those, 30-minute concertos. and it's very rigorous. So first, the students have to be selected to the region level. Now, in our region, we had over 1,200 kids audition alone. If they're accepted at the region level, then they have to compete with kids from the rest of the state. And very proud that Max was selected. It was led this year by Dr. Higgins, who's a conductor at Rowan University. He's the director of bands there. Did a magnificent job with these high-level kids. They rehearsed and performed for 3 or 4 days. They were the featured group at the New Jersey Educators Conference in Atlantic City this year. And they also did an honors concert at the PAC Center in Newark. So it was a wonderful experience. So anyway, I'd like to introduce Max and have him come talk a little about his experience at Teen Arts.
Thank you. So firstly, I would just like to thank the board for letting us go to Teen Arts. It was a great experience. Not only was I able to perform, but you could also see the other parts of art. For example, there was this demonstration in like movies where they do fake combat, how that's done, and that was really cool. And then also just being able to see other schools, their music programs, and like what they were playing, and yeah, so I'm in jazz band, jazz lab, and jazz combo, so I got to play a lot, and we also got a lot of feedback on our pieces. Like, we were told that we should use more dynamics, which is like your volume, or just like stylistic things as well. And I'm really excited that we get to go do it again in the State Teen Arts. Jazz Lab and Jazz Combo were both selected to continue on to the state level. And I really hope that we can just continue to do that again next year. Thank you.
Lastly, I'm also like to just to announce that, very pleased to announce that our Wind Symphony, which is our advanced band, and our advanced string orchestra have been invited by Manhattan Concert Productions to perform in their symphonic series, which is a concert that features outstanding groups from around the country. And we'll be performing at Carnegie Hall on June 10th this year. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Thank you to all the teachers and the students that spoke tonight.
Can Max tell us what he plays, or how many instruments you play? I play the euphonium.
What about the second question? How many instruments?
One.
Just one. Although the advice from Teen Arts, they were trying to recruit him into trombone, but he's euphonium through and through. Yeah. Which is also what his father played.
Yeah, no one ever knows it.
That was a good pull.
For the last part of the presentations, as principal, twice a year I present data. A little shifting of gears right here, but we just again got to highlight a lot of the triumphs that we have going on here at school, and I do have to recognize here, data-wise, some of the challenges we have as well. So twice a year, as you may recall, we submit data to the state, and I present to you, to the board. This is a presentation, again, on the student safety data systems. This presentation is about the first 6 months of this school year, so it's from July through December of 2023. What gets reported, there are a few items, mainly overall, any acts or behaviors that have students removed from school or from the classroom, maybe to in-school suspension, match up to as what needs to be reported to the state. It used to be called the Violence and Vandalism Report, but it has been updated to the new vernacular. We also have to report to the state and also to you the HIB findings and data from that 6-month period. Overall, this is an exhaustive list, if you would, of what needs to be reported to the state, and we report in New Jersey Homeroom, a little drop-down menu of the various types of reasons for a student to be removed. This is the data right here from the first 6 months, if you would, again, of harassment, intimidation, and bullying. This does go back into last summer up until December 31st. We had 13 reports. 3 times we used the principal's preliminary discretion, if you would, but there were 10 investigations. And of those 10, 4 were confirmed HIBs. And there's a breakdown right there of the motivation and identifiable characteristics of the target, or perceived at least of the target, that were associated with the HIB. You can see the number 4 there, but a total of 6 if you count to the left there, and that's because there were 2 incidences. There were more than 1 characteristic identified in the act. Also, a few months ago, I believe in closed session, you, Dr. Moore, shared the self-assessment report card of HIB, and you adopted it. I think it was about 2 or 3 months ago. But that wasn't part of the public presentation, so I included it in here. There are 8 core elements that, led by our anti-bullying coordinator, Mr. Estrada, our anti-bullying specialists, and other members of our constituency, including parents, are part of what is called a school safety and school climate team. And they meet periodically throughout the year, and one of the items that they do are they are the ones who do that self-assessment that you received the scores from a few months ago. There were 8 core elements, and of those 8 core elements, there's 26 indicators. Each indicator has a maximum score of 3. And we scored 3 out of 3 in all but one of those areas. And the one area that we did not score the total 3 points was an indicator where all members of that school and safety, school climate team need to have professional development on what the HIB is. And we realized the one parent member that we had not been part of a professional development for it. So since then and off of that, we've incorporated making sure that any parent who's on this team also has access to this, the Safe Schools online professional development that we have, that all staff members undertake, but that one individual did not. So that was what that one element was. Back to the areas that we have to report for any time a student was removed from school, whether it's home, out of school suspension or in school suspension. Here is the breakdown. We had 1 assault, 1 criminal threat. We had 22 incidences of fighting. That doesn't mean 22 fights. You might have more than at least 2 people involved if we're going to call it a fight. 2 instances of vandalism, 14 substance offenses, and of those 14, 11 of them had possession of a THC material, 2 weapons offenses, and then you can see the breakdown there of others. One I want to point out that was one that we really focused on a year ago and continued this year was the cell phone violation. I just want to, I guess, clarify what that means. It doesn't mean that a student had a cell phone out enough times that we suspended them. This primarily was if a student, for example, took a picture without any authorization and posted it. And a lot of times that, many times, is associated with the fights above and perpetuates conflicts. So we've been really working hard to nip those conflicts in the bud, and that's one area that would take place. And I'm not going to read all the data there, but there you have it in front of you. Various interventions and prevention elements that we have are listed there, and I'd like to point out one change from last year of note. The bottom bullet there, PMT training for security staff. Back a few months ago, PMT stands for Physical/Psychological Management Training, and it's an 8-hour training for staff members to either proactively or reactively handle a conflict in a safe way. And all of our security staff, our duty release aides, the whole VP team, and myself went through that training. If you recall, we had those 2 half-day PD days that stemmed off of one of our PD days being, I think, a weather event. And so that we were able to shift it into those 2 afternoons. We broke it up into 2 4-hour sessions. And I think that training was very powerful and helpful for us, both as a team, but also proactively preventing us to get to a point where we have a student or students who have to be removed for one reason or another. So I wanted to highlight that. Also, resources and recommendations, and this comes from both our internal work as a principal, vice principal team, but also that safety and climate team I mentioned. That the in-school suspension is something that we put in place this year for the first time in a number of years. I want to say maybe 15 years that we didn't have an in-school suspension. And we felt that there was a void right there for 2, if you would, populations. There were many students who were being placed in out-of-school suspension that we felt that was probably not the best thing for that student. Also, we wanted to get them back in school as soon as possible, both for restorative work but also academic work. But also, I would say we hit a wall without the in-school suspension. You had out-of-school suspension, and you had this big void all the way to an extended detention. And we felt that also having a number of extended detentions was not very productive for the students. And it wasn't a distractor, but it also having 3 hours to sit there and not getting that restorative work wasn't as proactive as we wanted to be. So in-school suspension and support, and I put support in there because sometimes we use that room and that opportunity to not for a suspension reason, but maybe we have a situation where the students need either coming off of an extensive absence for one reason or another, and we needed some focused interventions in place to get them back on track, both behaviorally, emotionally, but also academically. So we use that for more than just, if you would, an old school, in-school suspension. And some of those other items we already have in place, but we're looking to, again, constantly get better each year. And that's the end of that presentation. Right. Any questions, or I think that wraps up this portion of the presentations. That's it. I incorporated the HIB into it. Yep.
Good, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good job, Ed.
I think we're done with that, right? I think we're done with the projector?
Heather, if you get a chance, go ahead. Oh, okay, they are. Okay.
All right. Dr. Shadow, anything else about the HIB suspension report or the HIB self-assessment?
Just very, very briefly, thus far in May, we have had one report, one incident reported. It was resolved through preliminary determination, and it was not identified as a HIB. And our suspension summary in May so far is 16 in-school suspensions. Last month it was 28. And out-of-school suspensions, 11. And this month, only 5. So I say only 5. It would be nice to have none. But that concludes that part of my presentation.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Shadow. Next, we will open it up to residents forum to have any public comment on topics related to tonight's agenda. If there's anybody who would like to speak on tonight's agenda, please feel free to come forward. Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment and move to our organizational items. For the board, I got some good guidance. I know we're not supposed to pull any surprises at the table, but I think this is a good one given tonight's activities. Dr. Shadow coached me and said, in many cases, if there's not extenuous conversation needed around some of these items, we can move them expeditiously. So this section, other than the HIB report at the end, which we just reviewed, really is 14 items that are the annual reorganization for the new school year items. They're detailed in our agenda and online in board docs, so hopefully you've all reviewed them. I'm not going to read every single one because they're all related just to the new school year. So with that, I'll open it up for a motion to approve or move organizational items 1 through 15.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a lot of moves and seconds. Any conversation around any of these items or questions? Hearing none, I will take a roll call vote. Please, Ms. Spitzer.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Duggan?
Yes.
Mrs. Gong?
Yes.
Mrs. Kellogg?
Yes.
Mrs. Blutfield? Yes. Mr. Reimer?
Yes.
Mrs. Santangelo?
Yes.
And Mr. Fowler?
Yes.
All yes, motion carries.
Thank you. All right, moving on to student life and program.
Thank you, Mr. Fowler. This evening we have 5 items to move. The first is the approval of a foreign exchange student. The second has to do with tuition and transportation for special education students year 23-24. The third is for an overnight field trip for the speech and debate team. They're going to be heading out to Chicago to compete, and we certainly would like to wish them good luck. The fourth is for textbook adoption for an AP class for African American Studies. And the fifth is for a staff research project that will examine how an interdisciplinary project of STEM, humanities, and NASA technology concepts affect students. Sounds like a pretty heavy study. Good luck with them. I'd like to wish them good luck too. And I'd like to request that we move those 5 items for the Student Life and Programming Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Reimer. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lori. Ms. Spitzer, roll call.
Ms. Duggan?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Kellogg?
Yes.
Mr. Reimer?
Yes.
Mrs. Santangelo?
Yes.
Ms. Gong?
Yes.
Mrs. Blutfield?
Yes.
And Mr. Fowler?
Yes.
All yes, motion carries.
Thank you. Operations and Transportation, Ms. Duggan?
Okay, guys, I apologize for this one. There's 24 items here, so I'm going to just try to go through them pretty quickly. The first 3 financial reports, the invoices, and the transfers. We've got a non-resident tuition rates for 2024-25. The fifth is the Educational Data New Jersey Cooperative bids. You can see all the details there. Tax levy payment schedule, we saw all that with the information that Heather's provided the last couple of months. We have nursing shared service agreements, school medical inspector, parental agreements, which are transportation agreements with parents for some students to get to school. The transportation jointure between Del Val and Hunterdon Central. We've got the meal prices for 2024-25 that you'll find there in item 11. 12 is the food price list. 13 is the vendor contract renewals. So you'll see there's a ton of vendors here that we want to just push through in case we decide to use. Subscription bus for non-transport areas. We also have number 15 is the subscription bus for the second seat fee. Outstanding checks, this is to give the approval to allow that any checks beyond 6 months or older can get canceled. We have the Chromebook valuation, and this is, it's been deemed that the Chromebooks for our graduating seniors have a value of $20. The 11-12 Fieldhouse roof coating, so capital reserve for that, and the 11-12 Fieldhouse lower roof coating. Donation to the Hunterdon Central Regional High School Scholarship Fund. This we would like to accept with gratitude a donation of $1,100 donated by Mr. Resnick to the Hunterdon Central Regional High School Scholarship Fund. 21 is awarding the solid waste management removal bid. That's to Republic Services. We're going to award the behavioral health care services bid. The ARP ESSER Homeless Children and Youth Grant here. That's in the value of $373. And finally, an RFP for our school photographer. So with that, I'd like to move O&T items 1 through 24.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a couple of seconds. Roll call, please.
Ms. Gong?
Yes.
Mrs. Kellogg?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mrs. Santangelo?
Yes.
Mr. Reimer?
Yes.
Mrs. Bloodfield?
Yes.
Mrs. Duggan?
Yes.
And Mr. Fowler?
Yes.
All yes, motion carries.
Thank you very much. Personnel Committee, Ms. Butler.
Personnel only has 21 motions tonight. So we didn't have the most for once. First motion, we have 3 resignations as of June 30th. Can you pull that a little closer? First motion is 3 resignations as of June 30th. Then we have the appointment of our communications officer, which, as many of you know, we've been without that since the end of the year. So that's certainly a welcome position that we are filling now, and that will be as of July 1st. We have in number 3 an amendment for contractual appointment. Number 4, we are approving 1 additional staff member for renewal. This is someone who actually we approved last month the retirement as of September 1st, but we need to renew him just to have everything active for the summer. Then we have in 5 and 6, we have some summer appointments, hourly appointments in 5, and then extended school year student workers in 6. We have in 7 and 8 some additional chaperones, both paid and unpaid. 9, we have some substitutes. 10, we have proctors, monitors, and test coordinators for next year. In 11, 13, 14, 15, and 16, we have some summer work appointments. So we have front desk security, nurses, child study team, special services summer IEP meetings, and counseling services summer work. And back to 12, we have unpaid co-curricular volunteers for the speech and debate trip that's coming up. 17, we are approving professional development for our media specialists to attend the Google Innovator Academy in July. 18, we are approving staff for the Instructional Design Development Program. This is grant funded, and what we're doing here is approving a group of select staff members to work as a team over the summer to develop a coaching and professional learning plan. In 19, we are approving a stipend for new staff induction and mentoring coordinator. Again, that's grant funded. In 20, we have some leaves of absences that were given interim approval. And then 21, we have our bus driver agreement, which is a 1-year extension on the contract. With that, I will move personnel items 1 through 21.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any conversation, questions? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Reimer?
Yes.
Mrs. Duggan? Yes. Ms. Gong?
Yes.
Mrs. Butterfield?
Yes.
Mrs. Kellogg?
Yes.
Mrs. Santangelo?
Yes.
Mrs. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Fowler?
Yes.
All yes, motion carries.
Thank you. Dr. Shadow?
Thank you, Mr. Fowler. At this time, because it is so very important for the communications of our organization out to our various publics, I would like to introduce our new communications officer, Ms. Marin Smagala. Marin, would you like to say a few words? Congratulations. Thank you.
And welcome to the family. All right. Other committee member or liaison reports? Anyone? Go ahead, Dean.
I was going to say just one thing from communications. I would like to congratulate the Ed and his staff on the graduation website. It is incredible this year. The information is all there, very nicely done.
Thank you. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yeah, we had the New Jersey School Board Association Delegates Assembly twice a year down at the Conference Center at Mercer. It was a whopping 4-hour meeting this year. Quite interesting. There were 14 resolutions. The resolutions are essentially what the boards are asking the NJSBA to lobby for on their behalf. And there were 14, as I said. Several of them were not recommended by the NJSBA and did not go forward. But there were some, quite a few that did go through, having to do with flexibility in implementing bilingual education programs, flexibility for using school buildings during polling places. Right now, schools are required to, if they're polling, if the Board of Education says we're going to use your school, they have to, and there's security concerns, so they ask to be lobbied on behalf of the different boards to be able to say no to that, rather than having to cancel school in that event. There were a lot having to do with budgets and asking for different things about state aid. There was one about AI and, making sure that the AI is implemented in an equitable way. There was one that actually asked for the State Department of Education to maintain a publicly available list of legislative or regulatory mandated policies that a local Board of Education is required to maintain as part of its policy manual. This would aid boards of education in making sure that not only are they up to date, but that they know what language is mandated, what language is suggested, what have you, which they also do with the different policy vendors, but it would, a lot of boards, I guess, run everything by legal, and it does get rather expensive. Supporting the teaching of history, a lot of different things that were interesting, but there were 14, so we have a long way to go before sleep tonight. So I am going to provide the booklet of information as well as brief write-up to Mrs. Spitzer if any board members have any questions about what happened.
Thank you. Any other? Yes, go ahead.
I'll just give a quick update on the superintendent search. We have completed our engagement phase. Thank you to everyone who's contributed your input. We now have a leadership profile for what we are looking for in our new superintendent, and we are officially in the recruitment phase. Applications will be accepted through, I believe it's June 17th, and then we will be doing interviews towards the middle and end of July, and hope to have our new superintendent selected by end of July.
Thank you, Ms. Busfield, and thank you for the continued leadership in that space. Anyone else? I I do have one thing that I did want to add to our conversations about committees. So Policy Committee met this past month. Again, a fruitful conversation about how we can go forward, but didn't make any specific decisions on how we will go forward other than some operational kind of structure. I think the board has all seen potential flow charts of how things could flow, and I know we're still outstanding committee guidance and description. So I've drafted that I'll share with the committee now, and then I'll hand it over to Mrs. Spitzer and to Dr. Shadow to appropriately, I guess, restructure into, not policies, I'm sorry, I'm blanking. Regulations, thank you, and we can take it from there. And don't feel you have to write it, I'll send it to you later, but just to read it into record, the Policy Committee shall oversee the management of Hunterdon Central's policy manual. The committee shall continually review the status and applicability of policies and consider appropriate changes as suggested by our policy consultants, community, staff, board members, and any other Board of Education committees. The Policy Committee shall support policy drafting and revisions by ensuring alignment and congruence with other policies. In general, policy change requests should be submitted, reviewed, and recorded by central administration, then reviewed by any other applicable committees, subsequently reviewed by the Policy Committee, followed by a legal review, and finally presented to the entire Board of Education for first and second readings. The efforts of this committee should support the district in complying with statutory requirements and achieving the mission and goals of the district. That's pretty much a combination of all the input that I grabbed from everybody's emails over the last couple of months as we've discussed this. So thank you all for your input, and hopefully this will help to move Policy Committee forward in its activities.
Mr. Fowler, just a point of clarification.
Sure.
Are we allowed to shorten that? That was a mouthful.
Well, it's the guidance of what the Policy Committee should be doing. It will then be given to Dr. Shadow to put into the right format for our regulations, and then that provides our guidance for how we work. Hopefully we won't be reading it too much. Part of the reason why it's so wordy, Ms. Gong, is it does contain a verbal or a documented variant of the flowchart that we've discussed, rather than trying to settle on the 18 different versions of flowchart that we've been through over the last couple of weeks. So again, some general guidance for us on how to operate. All right, any other additional board business? Hearing none, I do have one more item in that space as well. I'm so wordy tonight. So a number of months ago, we received some communications asking about one of our board members and public advisory opinion. I have not responded to that inquiry directly via email. I will be doing so probably in the next day or two, but we do have answers from our legal counsel, so I wanted to share that with the public since it was part of public comment for the last couple of months. In short, really our understanding is that SEC will not issue new advisory opinions on issues which have already been addressed in a prior public advisory opinion. There is an opinion that makes clear that affiliation with a nonprofit that has some legislative agenda is not a violation of the code, as well as cases that make clear that mere affiliation with partisan political groups or special interest groups is not enough to violate the code without some impermissible conduct. Because of this, we do not feel the SEC will issue an opinion and will refer us back to its prior decisions. So basically, under that guidance, we feel the ruling has already been made. We don't need a new public advisory opinion, and if we requested one, we probably wouldn't receive it. So we believe that everything is in order and in good standing. All right, if there is nothing else, we can open up for our second public comment residence forum. We will give everybody 5 minutes. I'll set a 4-minute timer, so you'll get a warning and then a minute countdown. If anybody would like to have any public comments, please feel free to come down to the podium. We kept you asleep. That is wonderful. Okay.
I think the podium's scary.
Is the podium scary? Try sitting at this table. All right. Seeing none, then I will close public comment. And We will convene into executive session. We do not expect to come back out for any motions or activities. We'll be going over and discussing HIB cases, litigation, negotiations, personnel, school security, and other topics. So with that, can I have a motion to convene into executive session, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? I always get that wrong. All right, thank you all. Have a good evening.